writings titled Auguries of Innocence. And he says, to see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, I am Reverend Trish Hall, and welcome to our expanded, wonderful outreach by way of Facebook. So, so glad that you are joining us by Facebook. And at this time, I'd like to get going with the topic for today, and that is one infinite reality as everything. Now, if you think about that, it's really easy to, just a moment, need to do something. Will everyone please mute yourself? That'll be easier and quicker. Really appreciate that. So, one infinite reality as everything. That sounds like a real, oh, that's easy. And if you think about it, at least most people I know would rather be able to have it as some things and not as others, so that it's easier to understand that which I like, of course, is an expression of the divine, but I don't have to deal with that other. And truth is, it's all God. And it doesn't matter if you call it God or whatever you want to call it. Indescribable infinite is one that works for me. But what that amounts to is everywhere you look, the things you like, the things you don't like, the things that are pleasing, the things that you judge to be unpleasing, the whole schmear. It's all the expression of the divine. And so that's how we get to this whole concept of oneness. And oneness means that there is one creator that has sprung forth as all of creation. So as part of that, you or I, we are individuations of the divine. So we are inseparable from the divine itself, but we're also inseparable from one another. And that's where the oneness actually starts feeling really powerful. And in some cases, a little intimidating, because that one infinite reality that is known by so many names, it is constantly creating. It didn't create something, walk off and say, you're on your own. Instead, it is constantly recreating, constantly expressing. We are its outlet. We are its inlet. And so there is this continuity, there is this constancy that says all creation is both relative, that's in this world of form, and absolute, the truth of our spirit. We are tangible. I've got a body that I'm running around in, and intangible in that I am something greater than my body. This is true for everybody, not just me. It's true for everybody and everything. Okay, we are physical and metaphysical. All of those things are happening all the time, all in everything that we do. We are both absolute and relative. We are tangible and intangible. We are physical and metaphysical. All creation is inseparable from the divine, from that creator, and all other expressions. Now, Don Juan said it so beautifully. We are luminous beings. We are perceivers. We are awareness. We are boundless. Now, I want you to take just a moment and contemplate that word boundless. How many aspects of your lives, or what aspects of your life, do you really feel boundless? That is no boundaries. You can be all of your desires, you can have, you can do, you can, all of this is boundlessness. Now, fessing up for myself, hey, I step into this. I am boundless. And then this little voice in me says, accept. And then I go to some story of my past, or I go to some twitch in my body. And all of a sudden, I have brought in limitation. Spirit didn't bring in the limitation, didn't impose that. It was my buy-in to it that makes it have effect on me. And so oneness, that grand interconnection, is what defines us. And we get to live into it to the degree that we accept that. Now, Amos said oneness is our true feeling. So I'm going to invite you to take a moment in the stillness. Just take a moment and go into that feeling aspect of yourself. And in that feeling aspect of yourself, attempt to let go of a me, thou, me, that, me, other sort of consciousness. Imagine that you are so aware of your oneness that geography doesn't matter. Geography even defining you to the person sitting next to you, okay? Allow that awareness to just kind of blur. And when you are allowing it to blur, breathe, sense. I like the affirmation, I am one with and inseparable from all of it. And so you are both personal, your own, and universal. That when you are in that state of awareness of your inseparability, there is harmony. It is the outpicturing of love. Love as you. You are love. Love reveals truth. Love brings in that total awareness that we cannot be separate from one another. And so coming back, being together now, according to Joel Goldsmith, infinity is within us. That was what I was asking you to kind of embrace, is the idea that you are infinite. That also says that there are certain responsibilities that come with it. And when we're awake to that interconnectedness, no matter how pummeling the storms of life may have seemed, they cannot tear us apart. We are grounded, we are resilient, we need the winds of change, we need transitions in our lives in order to build the muscle to deal with more of what is called life. But it also makes sure that the wind is in our sails so that we can choose what direction we go. We get to choose the way that we will show up. And so we do dwell in the oneness of God, even when the appearance suggests the absence of the divine. And we're not here to gloss over and play Pollyanna and say that stuff isn't happening. Quite the contrary. Where this responsibility thing comes in is that because of oneness, we are called to be a stand for one another. And how that stand shows up may vary according to our individual personality, our abilities, our physical constraints, our, where we live and how we can do and what spirit is calling each of us to do. But that is the call That's the responsibility because we are one. But interestingly enough, that call, that oneness, is what gives us resilience. I want to take a little sidebar and throw in the concept that when you know what you are, what happens to the physicality is conquerable. You can deal with it. Many years ago now, I had an encounter with someone who was violent and held me captive. And if you've read the right book, you know, you've heard the story or read the story. But anyway, in that situation, because I knew my oneness, because I knew I was inseparable from the divine, what a perpetrator did to this body was survivable, but not just at the survival level. Knowing that I was inseparable from the divine, I could still draw on intellect, I could still move through, and I didn't have to get into a cycle or a mental pattern that would limit me. I was able to come to that place that says, I'm not going to let that jerk's actions limit me or define me, because I know what I am. I am an incarnation of the divine. I know that I am fully able to move through this and not have it define me. And that phrase really anchored with me, because the definition of me is I am an individuation of spirit. That's what I choose to have define me. And I know for everyone else that when given the choice of, do you define yourself by your greatest, by the spirit as you, or do you define yourself by your limitation? Do you define yourself by physical encounters? Do you define yourself by the circumstance in which you live? Ernest Holmes says, our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of the principle, which of itself is without limit. It is ready to fill everything because it is infinite. It is entirely a question of our own receptivity. That particular quote from Holmes is a whole lot of what this is about. And that is, do you identify yourself as spirit? Do you identify yourself as boundless? Do you allow yourself the opportunity, the possibility to take a past incident, a circumstance, and say, thank you for what I learned from it? And I am not going to allow it to control me. I am not going to allow it to define me. So in our teaching, we provide lots and lots of tools for humanity to move into new levels of consciousness. But there's a clinker in there. All those tools that we provide only work if you work them. Sorry. They only work when you work them. If you read about them, if you study them, and then you put it back on the shelf, it is not going to make a twit's difference in your life. On the other hand, if you embrace it and know that you are spirit in form, that you're an inlet and outlet of the divine, then whatever the circumstance, that's the you that you bring to the circumstance instead of allowing the circumstance to control you, to define you. We must allow spirit to work for us by working through us. Drink that in for a moment. We must allow spirit, that spirit that is already in us, to work for us by working through us. So if we get this sense of, oh yes, I recognize that I am spirit incarnate, I am this being, and then some wonderful inspiration arises within me, and I say, oh, but that's scary. Or I say, oh, I would or one that, alas, I have done many times, is I'll get around to it. I'm going to take care of these circumstances first. And when I get my circumstances cleared out, then I'll follow this divine inspiration. And I'm sure as heck not going to ask for a show of hands to see how many other people have postponed their good. Having me raise my hand and say, guess what? I can look back at the occasions. I can even look around at the occasions and watch myself postponing my good while I take care of this or that or something else. So I want you to ask yourself, this is another contemplative little piece. Okay, I want you to ask yourself, are there any areas in your life, I'll have you ask it in the first person, ask yourself, are there any areas in my life in which I am playing small? Are there any areas in my life in which I have deferred my good? What limiting beliefs that I've been toting around can I release in order to expand my consciousness? Take a breath. What could I shift if I truly believed and embraced our teaching? What would change if I was a stand for myself and others, communicating courageously, openly, and vulnerably? And so returning your attention to the next part of that, and that is the way that you can sense the answers to those questions, the way you can tune into the answers to those questions is to look around at what you are manifesting. What is manifesting in your life, and is it what you desire? We know that we manifest the infinite, that is spirit, the boundless possibility for our life, to the degree that we are aligned with it. That's that congruency thing that many of you students of mine, congruency is when the inside of me matches the outside of me, when what I claim is my truth is how I live in my life. And so that alignment is so powerful. That alignment is what allows the good to actually fully express in our lives. And if our good feels limited, if you kind of came up with a sense of this isn't quite flowing the way I would like it to be, you need to address it, engage with it with curiosity and honesty and objectivity, so that you take this inventory and say, where am I out of alignment? Where am I out of alignment between that which is I know to be the truth of me, that's knowing, and my actions? My heart knows my truth. Recently, I was talking with somebody who's made a claim about what his heart was calling. And I said, is that really what your heart is calling? And I don't know whether it was or not. That's not mine to decide. But I'm asking you, are you following what your heart has called you to? And if you are feeling that sense of freedom that says yes. That sense of freedom that says, wow, this is what it's about. It's discarding the old thoughts of limitation. It's moving into the recognition that the one infinite reality is as everything. And so you are pure potentiality. And as you look around and you see God expressing as the leaves, as the wildlife, as the other humans, as everything, I call that God spotting. But it's so beautiful because then we become keenly aware of what's there and the possibility and the energy of it all. And when we're in this process, when we upgrade, uplift, when we raise our own consciousness, think about the impact that has on everyone else. When we become demonstrations of how we can live, when we are living the truth that we claim we believe, then, and this is something the mystics knew, then what happens is we are that magnetic force, we are that upsweep that changes the entire world. We do it by living it. And so to change the world for good, increase individual integrity, understanding, capacity for compassion. And so again, oneness demands action. It demands us to be present and move in that direction. And so face any fears that may have come up. Don't get confused by appearances. And instead of evading the situation, start engaging with it. You know that love is the most powerful healing force in the world. So instead of pretending that something isn't happening or try to walk around it and claim it isn't there, what we need to do is engage with whatever is going on. True learning about others comes from direct knowledge, direct learning. When we say this is an expression of God and we don't understand it, talking about it to somebody else probably isn't going to make a whole lot of difference, but engaging with it and saying, hey, wow, I want to learn. I want to be able to share. I want to be so engaged with life. And so like in our infinity circle, our groups, when we practice loving inquiry and deep listening, we take advantage of opportunities to engage in conversation so that we learn about other expressions of the divine from them. We learn how it is to be someone else. And so stop accepting somebody else's version of it and engage. And a bit of advice, this is just an advice thing. Have you ever thought about making news watching an active prayer session? I'm just going to leave that little one with you. And that is, when the news comes on, you turn to prayer. You turn to affirmations. You turn to our spiritual practices that you know work. And if we are contagious. So if we get everybody we know to enter that practice instead of getting lured into the news and lured into circumstance, what if we take that and say, yes, I know a divine truth beyond this appearance. And I am willing to be a stand for it and stand with it in order to make a difference. Every week when we do our affirmation and we declare there's a power for good in the universe that is greater than I am, and I am using it now, and we are using that power to create a world that works for everyone everywhere. That's what I'm asking of you. Because when you remember that it is one infinite reality expressing as everything, then it is ours. We are one with and inseparable from all of it. And the call, the heart call, the spirit call says, lean in, engage, love it into manifesting glorious relationships. So please join me in prayer. A little different prayer than we mostly do. It's called a metta prayer. Many of you already know it. And so in the stillness, we will do 3 rounds in the settledness of it. May I be wise. May I be kind. May I be grateful. May I be peaceful, strong, and appreciative. May you be wise, kind, grateful, happy, peaceful, and strong. May all beings be wise, be kind, be grateful, be happy, safe, peaceful, strong. And so it is. Take a breath. And perhaps let's just do that last one a little bit again. May all beings be well. May all beings be grateful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be strong and peaceful. And so it is. So, thank you. And now we switch. We kind of go from that place of, hello, people. Okay. All people. Yes, may all people be happy. So, this is our time of sharing, and in our time of sharing, it is to come to that place of awareness in which you really, really dive into the abundance that Pat was speaking about in her powerful prayer. Abundance of love, abundance of finance, abundance of all different aspects of the divine. And that's what we share. And your individual financial support of the center makes it possible for us to be here each week and to share and to bring in speakers and all sorts of wonderful things that we do here. So it's time for our affirmations. So our prosperity blessing is divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of this spiritual center. My gift returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so we make it really easy for you, and we have lots of ways to give. And they're coming up shortly. There they are. The ways to give. We make it very easy. You can use an app on your phone and go to Givelify app and make sure that you do select Center for Spiritual Living Metro, because that's us, and we're very happy to receive your support. There are several other centers for spiritual living on Givelify now. So if you prefer to use online, you can go to givelify.com, or you can go to our website and use the donate button. That is a PayPal process, or of course you can send a check to the address at the bottom of the page. And well, we've got a great song by a couple of friends of ours.
ACSL Metro, this is a song by Johnson and Tom Hayes. How do you measure your time, talent, or treasure? Do you hold back or simply let go? You'll find there's no lack if you simply give back and let your heart overflow. A sister or brother, you don't have to hang on. Let your love flow along. Fill the cup of another. Sing with me. Fill a cup. Come on and fill it up. It always will be enough. Fill the cup of another.
Super. Thank you to our music team again. We are so wonderfully supported. So, Pat, would you please bless our offering?
Yes. I give thanks for knowing that I am the opportunity for the abundance of God to actualize. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Pat. So our announcements are that next week, Diane Stewart Hamlin, that everyone loved when she was here last time, and it's several months ago now, is returning to share with us. And her title is My Story is the Spiritual History That Changes the World. And she's got me really curious with that title. So be sure to be here for that. And then today is Pet Blessing Day, and that'll be at 11:30, and we have a lovely team. And whether you have a pet to present, or a picture of a pet to present, or maybe you don't happen to have a pet at this time, please do join us. It's a lovely little ceremony that we'll be doing, and that'll be at 11:30 right here on this same Zoom. So if you are on Facebook and you're on Facebook Live, do go to our website. There is a direct link into our Zoom so that you can get in at 11:30. Our pets bring us so much joy, and so it's time for us to honor them. The next item on this slide is a very important meeting next Sunday. May 23rd, our leadership team will be, and that's our practitioners and our practitioner 2 students and our leadership team. And and anyway, we are coming together for our monthly meeting. But this monthly meeting really needs everyone's input. And that's because, of course, everybody is going, oh, wow, CDC has made so many changes regarding fully vaccinated people so that we can actually come together. And your leadership team needs your input on when, whether, how, all of those questions about moving to hybrid services from from strictly online, that we need to be looking at coming back physically, being together. And maybe for now it's just social events that'll be together, but we need your input. And everybody, when the time comes, is going to need to step up in various ways in order for that to happen. So please, please show up so we can have a powerful discussion. And I think I've covered the announcements. I've also covered pleading. And just a reminder that our social time, during our social time, practitioners are available to pray with individuals, brief prayer sessions in private breakout rooms, so that the prayers are confidential, of course. And you can submit a prayer request at any time through our website. And you're all invited to join us for weekday morning meditation at 8 o'clock. It's on this same Zoom. So I think that's it, so that now we can sing our way out.
When I'm feeling down and blue, I found a trick that I'll share with you. I can choose a better way with every little thought I think. If I wake up with a bad attitude, I fill my mind with gratitude. I give thanks for everything with every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. What you thinking? What you thinking? What you thinking? What you thinking? You gotta watch. What you thinking? What you thinking? You got to watch your thinking. When I'm feeling down and blue, I found a trick that I'll share with you. I can choose a better way with every little thought I think. And if I wake up with a bad attitude, I just fill my mind with gratitude. I give thanks for everything with every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Whoa, day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. What you thinking? 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 You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
That slideshow is so fun. And so thank you, Dan, for creating that one. And thank you to the music team, Holly and Dan. We're here this morning to get special thanks. So with that, just take a moment to come to that place. If you have somebody near you and you can hold a hand, do. If not, just engage your imagination and know that you are holding the hand of a loved one. And now expand that circle to be all those that you considered loved ones. Includes me. And expand that circle to include the friends and acquaintances and the ones that you'll never meet, won't have occasion to meet. And because I love imagery, imagine Indra's net. That's a net that takes in the whole universe, and everywhere that net crosses, there is a faceted jewel that reflects the facets and the light coming from every other faceted jewel on this enormous universal net. And imagine you are one of those sparkling faceted gems among myriad faceted gems, because that infinite reality is as everything. Drink it in. Feel it saturate your whole being. And then join me in recognition of that divinity of all other with Namaste. And so it is. And we're now at social time. And I need to cut